So, what's the thing about crowdfunding? Why is crowdfunding working? There are various reasons, of course, but you have to imagine this scenario. If the same product is a pre-order on timeline A, let's call it, and on crowdfunding on timeline B, chances are that it will do much, much better in timeline B, the exact same product, exact same game. Why? Well, there are a few reasons in my opinion, and the first one is that crowdfunding sells a vision, sells a story compared to sells a product. Okay, and the other one is that crowdfunding is a month-long event. Of course, there can be campaigns that are 2 weeks or 3 weeks, but in general, let's say a month. So it's a long event, and as such, it's a great chance for visibility of your game. Uh, the third reason is that crowdfunding creates a great sense of community, and we will see in the next slide what do I mean with that. So first of all, we like stories, we like storytellers, and stories and storytellers are much more interesting than products. Of course, you can sell a game just presenting it as a simple product on sale, but if there's a story behind it, you have a chance with crowdfunding to present that story in a way that you wouldn't do on a e-commerce page to purchase your game, right? Like, if your game is really, really good, can you have a good campaign? Can you have a good campaign? Yes, in my opinion, you can, if people really want your stuff. But if your game is just okay and there is not a good story around it, I don't think you can have a good crowdfunding campaign. So of course the quality of the game is super relevant here. But even with a game that is so and so, if you have a good way to present it, you can make a great crowdfunding campaign. Why? Because I think people will buy the passion, the dream, not your dream, but they will imagine how having that game will make their gaming life better. And as gamers, you probably know that what you imagine is not always what happens, because you, for example, buy a very big board game and then imagine meeting your friends every week to play with them. It doesn't always go that way, and unfortunately that's a very common scenario, but you can imagine that. And if you can make people imagine that, then you are on the right track to make them back your game. People in general will not judge your game like they would judge something that they can get from the store. Why? Because as I mentioned, they're buying the potential for the game more of the product. Now here, it's important to make this disclaimer. Some people see Kickstarter and other crowdfunding platforms as pre-orders, but some also understand that many of the games that they're funding are not completely done yet, and they still can have an impact. They still can see that the game has potential, and they can have some kind of input in it, right? So the important thing to know is that crowdfunding, it's an event. It's an event. It's not just oh, now you can buy something. It's something special, something that you build towards before the campaign, and then when the campaign starts, you can rally people to support you and send input and bring their friends, and it's like a party pretty much. Okay, if you do it right. In practical terms, it is a month-long marketing opportunity for visibility, the kind of visibility that you usually don't get if you put stuff on your own website. And because of the algorithm that usually organizes information on Kickstarter or other platforms, new people that you wouldn't be able to reach otherwise are introduced to your project. One thing they can do if you run the campaign properly is that they will see that they will have a chance to improve the game and the rewards as the campaign proceeds. So that is a very important thing and something you should really pay attention to. Again, it's a community-driven effort because they can have, of course, a massive impact on the outcome of crowdfunding, not only on the funding that is raised, but also on how the final game will look. On the other end, I think most pre-orders they are something that people don't really have any impact on. They can decide to buy it or not buy it, and that's it. That's the product. That's what they get. They don't have any input. It's something that they purchase. Okay, it is like even though in practice the two things might look similar, at a psychological level, they feel very different in the head of people. And a strong community behind a project pretty much grants that your project is going to be funded at least up to a certain level. It will grant that the game has a certain amount of virality that they will tell their friends if they're excited about it. And also it will provide you with a certain amount of feedback that you simply cannot have in any other way, that you can also take and implement as ideas for stretch goals and things like that. Sometimes you just don't think about something that becomes very obvious when you start listening to people that are interested in your game. One last suggestion is that launching a crowdfunding project without a community behind it, a community of some kind that you're bringing from other projects that you're building over time, if you do that without their support, it's almost always the wrong way to go about it, because you need some kind of critical mass that pushes your game forward and makes it known to people that you wouldn't be able to reach otherwise. So if nobody cares about your game, you should not launch your crowdfunding campaign yet.